Well, I know what's going on through all of y'all's brains right now. Look at Mr. Singh, all dressed up in suits and scarf and bow tie and those sneakers, well, being extra. Well, don't judge me, I'm not speaking about fashion. So, coming back to the point, I don't know how often does this happen, that two people who are such good friends also happen to share so much in common. So here's the story of me and my one such friend. To most people, he may just be another human being. But to me, he's my friend. He's my strength and my source of inspiration. He believes in me and only wishes the best for me. We both grew up together, and together we experienced life. We were both born in a small village in India with a very humble background and no hopes to rest our futures upon. Simply being able to make the two ends meet was the greatest joy for our families every day. Life did not start out on the best notes for us, but soon the clouds of despair disappeared and we saw the rainbow of life. Our families moved to Delhi, the capital city of India, and began to build a new life. We were both in a very good school now, but, hey guys, it was kind of late. So this was the rainbow of life, and so we were both put in a very good school now, and we started to receive humanity's most cherished treasure, education. Well, neither of us had siblings, so the responsibility of making a better life for myself and for my family increased. While I held my end of the rope firm by studying what my parents wanted me to study, he let it loose and discovered an interest in theater. Well, that's my friend. So, now let me set the scene for those of you who do not know the Indian culture, or let's say the, Indian way. In India, we dance to the beats of Bollywood, but we do not want our kids to be actors or dancers. In India, we appreciate arts and we can spend money on them for entertainment. But we do not want our kids to be artists. Isn't that funny? But why? Well, simply because arts and entertainment won't get us big money or the prestige or even appreciation in the society. But now some of you may be thinking, but what about the satisfaction and happiness that one gets by doing what they want to do? Well, let me tell you this, and don't tell this to anyone. Those things don't really count in India. Some of the articles, but that was what my friend was seeking, happiness and satisfaction in life. Theater was where his heart lied and what he would find solace in. However, it was too early to say what he wanted to do for the rest of his life, so everyone just ignored his passion, considering it to be just his hobby that probably someday he'll get over with. Years passed by, but he continued to stick to his interest. Finally, it was time to pick up career choices. So our families made the typical suggestions of us being engineers or doctors. I gave in to be an engineer, and so did my friend, but with his passion still burning inside of him. So he would still dance to the beats of Bollywood, like I told you, the Bhangra style. He would still act in front of the mirrors like crazy, and he would still dream of becoming an actor one day. A for astronaut, B for businessman, C for computer scientist, D for doctor, E for engineer. Are these the definitions of letters that we teach to our kids and call them the foundations of their future? Or are these the only steps on the ladder to success? I'm sure the answer is a no, but is it really? Some of the articles that I've read during my research for the talk, they had titles that said either science or suicide, expectational harassment is the new bad in town, dream turns nightmare, suicide after not getting the best college. And while I say this, these were actually the titles of those articles. Those articles narrate the stories of those unhappy souls that passed into oblivion, fighting the parental and societal expectations. and the fear of failure. The shrieks are still there to be heard, so that 1 million more souls restrained in the shackles of expectations could be liberated. But we live in our own small worlds, ignorant of what's going on in our kids' brains. But in the mad rush, let's all of us pause and look behind at our children. A look at whether they're all right and able to run. And if not, then we better go back, hold their hands, and tell them this time, now do what your heart says and what you're passionate about. Every time when a child gives up on his or her life, it is not just the loss of a life, but it is also a murder of a hope, a faith, and a reason to move forward. Tell me something. So why is it that on a math test, an 89% is never enough, but with the numbers flipped, a 98% is much appreciated? We need to understand that every child is unique and is not perfect at everything. We must acknowledge and appreciate their strengths and talents and use those to our advantage. Give me an honest opinion as I ask you this. How many of you grew up hearing from your parents that look at Mr. So-and-so's kids and be more like them? How many? Well, we got the numbers here. Look, here lies the biggest problem. The problem of comparison that creates a feeling of unacceptance of who we are and that of our uniqueness. Here's the thing. It's time that we appreciate the talents and creativity and also encourage the talents and creativity in our kids. Why are we expected to live a life with a tedious job when for a lot of us, look, there you go. You have to be the next Bill Gates or the next Zuckerberg or the next Steve Jobs. So why are we expected to live a life with a tedious job when for a lot of us who are not passionate about it, for a lot of us, that job is being just over broke? Education is important, but it is not the ultimate means of becoming successful. Science is powerful, but what good is any power that destroys lives? Pen and paper may be the mightiest weapons, but are we here to be at war with each other? No, right? In a survey that I conducted, again, for this talk, I observed that 3 out of 5 kids were into career fields that their parents wanted them to be in. And 2 out of those 3 kids were never even given another option. And the remaining 2 out of 5 who were doing what they wanted to do were happier, more content, and were even doing better academically than others. Let's talk facts for a while. Out of all the living things on Earth, humans count to less than 0.1%. So that means we are less than 0.1% of the population that gets to make a choice. A choice to be whatever we want to be, a choice to live our lives whichever ways we want to live them, and a choice to make the same lives better for our own happiness and satisfaction. And finally, I believe that it's time that we teach to our kids to aspire to become what they choose, dream, and embrace. I came to the United States to make my life better, and so the life of my family. My friend came too, but to be a free bird and to live his dream. As I speak to all of you tonight, my friend is also listening to me as I share a piece of his heart. My friend is none other than a part of me that wants to be the next me. And tonight, I request all of you to be the next you. Thank you so much.